Hello and welcome to Film Seizure. We are in the 5th week of our back-to-school month.
You could say these are the finals.
These are the finals. These are the finals. This is graduation day.
Oh.
I really could
Nailed
not wait to talk about Can't Hardly Wait. 1998 film by people Deborah Kaplan and Harry Elfont. Yeah, I think this is a fun one to conclude the month. It's more just a fun movie. It's not thematically like the other films.
Yep.
But maybe that's why it has lower scores or something on Metacritic and shit. But I really like this movie, so I'm glad we're talking about it. I should probably say that Jeff Arbuckle is here.
Hey.
Wearing his LaBarber t-shirt. I can't even say it. LaBarber t-shirt.
LaBarber.
Yes.
Hey, Chuck, did you order a LaBarber? Well done.
Well done. Well done. And then we have Jason Oliver.
Hey.
His appropriately dressed for the occasion in his Carrie shirt.
Right. Sure.
He's a little early. He's just a couple weeks early on that.
Yeah. So this movie's about Barry Manilow.
Yeah.
Yes, it kind of is.
Yeah.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
It's the story of how he wrote the songs.
Yeah. He's the man who wrote the songs, even though Jeff,
I'm not sure that he did write all of his songs.
He might not have written the songs.
He might not have written them.
Yeah, he might not have wrote real good.
He might.
You've been listening to Film
We haven't done that for like a week or two.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, where do we start? Jason, go
where
ahead.
do we start? I'm going to say that I like this movie, but this is a weird movie, and I don't totally think it's a good movie, but it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
And it's very, very funny when it wants to be, and that's most of the time. It's just an odd script.
It is.
When you watch it from front to back and you really think about what you just saw and you try to pick out any sort of message that it's trying to convey, it's kind of shallow.
It's themeless. It really is.
It's very shallow.
Yeah.
One of the things that I would say that I mean, okay, so I'm going to be kind of in the same boat as Jason, where I saw this movie. I liked this movie in 1998 when it came out.
Yes.
And
are you going to tell that story again?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I mean, I went and saw it in the theater. I was, I was glad to watch. Back then, this is kind of part of what I would call like a trilogy of the end of the line of the fun to watch good high school teen movies of the era.
Okay.
Between this, She's All That, and Drive Me Crazy would be the end of the line for me. Because the 2000s
I'd throw like
don't
10
have
things
it.
I hate about you.
I
in there.
didn't like that movie.
But I'd throw it in there.
When did Clueless come out?
95.
95.
So it's before.
A bit earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was kind of the end of the line for me. Because to be honest with you, I have mostly because of last week's movie, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and our friend Shannon and I used to talk about this all the time when we worked at the video store together. He and I always said it's like there's just a special place for a lot of those kind of coming of age movies like this. And this fits. I mean, there's a special place, even though like you, Jason, I know this isn't a very good movie.
Right.
But it's funny because it does remind me of a time that I was that was concurrent to to our generation, right?
Right.
So like, and it's funny because it's like I recently switched radio stations that I listen to, and I've been hearing a lot more of like 90s stuff that takes me back to like that kind of time. So it's like I'm glad to watch this again. However, I will say the one thing that I like the least about this is this kind of comes from a time in which it's like giving depth to these types of characters is not a good idea.
Yeah.
Because it sounds very pretentious at times. Where it's all that kind of Dawson's Creek pretension, if that makes sense.
Sideburns were a thing.
No, it's just like everybody is saying something deep, and it's like you're not really that deep.
The overly articulate teen.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was the WB shows were proliferated that in the 90s.
And it's like it's like we all wanted to be like we talked about it in depth last week about how like two of the characters in particular from Fast Times at Ridgemont High thought of themselves as more than they were.
Yeah.
And I feel like that most of these types of properties in the late 90s were like just filled with that. And it's a little cringy looking back, and where it's like, I never thought about, I was like, I can't wait until the next time I fucking fart in an elevator
Right.
and force my friends to ride with me in it. That's what I was thinking about when I was 20,
Yeah. For me, this movie, I think the reason that I love it is that I don't have to think about anything.
Absolutely.
I can just sit there and laugh.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Preston, honestly, why can't I remember his name?
Ethan Embry.
Ethan Embry is so likable. Like, he carries a lot of this movie, and when he's not carrying it, William Lichter is. Like, so I just enjoy it. There's nothing, like Jason, there's no depth to it, really. It's goofy. It has some weird shit in it. Has some cringy shit in it. But it has a lot of laughs.
It does. And there's some cringy stuff we laughed at.
Yeah.
But again, we kind of talked about this before, and we're not going to go into that probably.
No, we won't.
But there is this is a time capsule of this. I mean, this is a perfect time capsule of 97, 98, 99.
Yeah, there's people in this movie I don't know how to talk about
Absolutely.
appropriately. I just don't know how to talk about them.
Well, I think there are ways to. I think Chuck is alluding to the Seth Green character,
Special K,
who is dressing in a way and talking in a way that we feel the best word to put it is poser.
That's fair.
Jeff was bracing for impact there.
Yeah,
there is another word, but we won't use it.
There's no place for that anymore.
And it's honestly it is sort of like it's kind of like black stereotypes reflected through a white lens with that character.
it was the I believe I've heard it once described somewhat recently as it was a urbanification
Okay.
of a suburban disaffection.
okay.
It was latching on to something in pop culture.
And this type of poser popped up like in the middle,
Absolutely.
like when I ended up in 9th grade.
Absolutely. Throughout the 90s.
Everybody knew a white kid like this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely. And that was just the thing. And it's like, it was a thing that happened to a lot of suburban, mostly upper middle to upper class kids.
Yeah.
That latched onto this, and it was a weird phenomenon.
Yeah,
It's
I have
like
no problem
there's
with
actually a
appreciating
movie-
that culture, but emulating it was weird.
That's exactly.
There's a movie that actually is really good social commentary on about this phenomenon, and it was called White Boys. I don't know if you guys.
Oh
ever
yeah,
saw that.
I didn't see it, but I know of it.
And
yeah.
it follows basically, it makes Seth Green his character the focus of a movie.
Wasn't that like basically 20 years ago?
Yeah, it came out around
Yeah.
the same time, and,
So,
and it's more of a satire. Like it's cringy. I'm sure if I watched it again today, I'd be like, woof. But what it's trying to do is sort of poke some fun.
That's a Wayans brother movie, right?
No, I don't.
No, that's
think
White
so.
Chick.
Oh, that's White Chicks. Sorry, but I think what's kind of important to deconstruct here with Seth Green's character is I think you're supposed to laugh at him because he is posing.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
He's a
they even make
goofball.
jokes about him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is then a moment when, and I think that are trying to reconcile some understanding of, I don't know, but there's a moment where the white posers interact with, actual black men for a laugh, and
It's the reaction that should happen.
yes, but the joke's a little too on the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And it is at the poser's expense.
Right.
Yes.
But it just the jokes were already there
Yeah.
with them.
Right. Exactly.
This we didn't need that, but it was the thing that I'm sure at some point maybe I was too. It's like, oh boy, what if these guys hung out with black people? It probably not going to go over too well. And I didn't need to see that joke. I was already thinking it.
Right.
You know.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's
Let's expunge this.
Yeah.
And get to the
let's
movie.
move on. We've got it.
I think it's good. I wanted to get it out early, and let's just get into some other stuff. Because I mean, that character isn't even what I find this movie to be at fault for.
No.
Right.
Right.
Because that character is actually an honest character for the era. It absolutely is.
Yeah, and there is heart to that character
Yes.
in the long run.
Yes.
It's the confusion. It's a very, very typical kind of white teenage boy confusion thing.
Yeah.
There. Now, and there's okay. So we might as well address the other thing. 3 times there's a particular word used that it's funny when it's used, but it's not something you can do 23 years later.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it.
I hate that it's used to insult someone.
Right.
I mean, I hate that it's used in general, but the way they play it is almost like they're condoning using that term.
Yeah. So all right. So the first
You know what I mean?
time,
And I don't
so
like that
So the
part of
first
it.
time it's used is when one of Seth Green's friends uses it to insult him
Because he has a pink candle.
Because he has a pink candle
Yeah.
in his bag. But it's almost like it almost doesn't feel accusatory when he says it. I don't know.
In that scene, not. But later, it definitely does.
Yes. It almost while it is used as an insult, it's also weird. It also feels weirdly accepting.
But it also feels weird coming from them because
Right.
they are doing something. They're posing as something they shouldn't
Right.
be. So
Exactly.
trying to
Well,
insult
and-
somebody
Right.
with it is like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I like it's one of those things. Also, it's like
It's
and-
still a joke. I'm glad that is excised from.
Yeah, because
Yes.
there is this weird thing. Because to be honest with you, there has always been kind of 2 uses for that word, right? One, which is the where that comes from.
Yeah.
Another, that it was just part of the lexicon that ultimately was almost divorced through most of its, like there were still tendrils that touched the original source of it, but often was used not for the same thing. Like almost like calling somebody an idiot or stupid,
Or
you know,
moron or whatever.
yeah, like it was almost like it was just it's obviously not one for one,
I
but
think
you know
that's
what I mean.
just us, like as kids.
Yeah.
And I don't know who said it, just misunderstanding what that word even meant and using it, misappropriating it as another kind of insult.
Right.
Maybe not only that, but maybe just misunderstanding the negative connotation.
But
of
I
it.
think sometimes when we said it or people would say it, they didn't even mean that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, like
Like
there were other
they weren't
things to be
necessarily
said.
calling someone a homosexual. They were just using it as like a blanket term for your
Yes,
dumb,
You're
or
a
yes,
your-
which is
douchebag or
bad in
something.
general,
Right,
anyways.
right, which is why excising words like, I'm just going to say the word retard from our
Sure.
vocabulary is also important.
Yes.
People use that interchangeably as just a blanket insult. They didn't necessarily say you're someone who's mentally challenged and are trying to make fun of somebody who's mentally challenged, but they were using that word in a negative connotation, and it needed to be excised from that use. It just there's no point, there's no purpose to that. It's insulting. And that's the same way with that F word. So but it is but it's interesting because when Mike Dexter is called that at the party after Amanda, his ex-girlfriend, dresses him down in front of everyone, yes, it's used as an insult. But there's something really interesting about how insecure Mike really is and how that's kind of like the last thing that breaks his insecurity.
Well, he's the bully who's now being bullied.
Right. And there's just something that's just so like Mike is, even in the end, he's just not a good guy.
He's
and
artificial.
He doesn't learn.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really that's not very smart. He probably realizes a lot of these things about himself even. And all he knows is he's got this exterior of machoism that he hides
has an
behind.
image to protect.
Right.
And he also has an
yeah,
entourage.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to be quite honest, who knows? I mean, it's not really explored, and I'm getting way too in depth with this moment. But, a lot of times, men, put other men down for a femininity or
because they feel that way.
Because they feel that way,
or they are insecure that they will become that,
right,
or that they can't reconcile their own
right. So
issue.
ultimately, what I'm trying to drive at here is that that word being used against him really helps kind of show ultimately how little of a man and how insecure Mike Dexter really is.
Yeah.
Right.
So welcome to our episode talking about a comedy.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I'm glad.
but I think I wanted to get those two things out.
I'm glad we talked.
And then
about
let's
because
talk
we
about the fun
laughed
stuff.
pretty hard where there was supposed to be jokes and there's just
I'll mention too that
it's
there's
weird.
The point too
sometimes.
is like to embarrass Mike Dexter by like stripping him naked, and it's sort of like the Heathers thing,
yeah.
right? To make him appear that he's a closeted homosexual.
They're going to emasculate him.
and emasculate him, yeah, and that kind of like bugs me too.
Yep.
But for the time, that would have been embarrassing.
And
for sure.
it certainly would be well, I mean, you also think about these
For
are
Mike, that would have been embarrassing.
For Mike, that would have been the worst thing. Like that's like dropping a nuclear bomb on him.
Yeah.
Whereas before,
if you're like a gay or a bisexual kid in high school with Mike Dexter and that happened, you would probably laugh your fucking ass off.
Sure.
Right? Because holy shit, somebody did that to Mike Dexter.
right, because he probably did it to you.
Right.
But yeah, no, the nerds are waging a nuclear all-out war.
Yes.
Whereas he did things to embarrass them that are bad and in aggregate added up, right? But they're gonna hit him once and it will end.
It will make up for everything.
It will make up for everything. And while that's bad, it is the ultimate thing they could do to him.
Right. And on the last day of school, right?
Yeah.
To like completely, tarnish his entire high school reputation
Right.
is
Okay,
what they're going to do. Yep.
So yes, we start on graduation day.
Yep.
We find out that Mike Dexter has broken up with Amanda, played by Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yep. Amanda.
We also find out that Preston has been in love with her since the first time he saw her. Because she was eating a strawberry Pop-Tart. He was eating a strawberry Pop-Tart.
And they might as well have been walking on the sun.
They might as well have been walking on the sun. And Preston was in his own mind, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And
This soundtrack is weird.
it is weird. He has the opportunity at that point in ninth grade to walk her or show her around the school, but Mike Dexter gets there first. And they date for the next 4 years and break up on graduation day.
Yes,
And
because
somehow-
he plans to move on to college girls.
Right.
Yes.
And somehow this is where I start to have problems with Preston. Preston has not in 4 years grown any real emotional maturity about what love means or to love someone. He in my opinion is a kind of shallow character. Probably the most shallow character
Maybe.
in the movie.
Maybe.
Because he's been holding this torch for 4 years. His friend, played by Lauren Ambrose, tries to like tell him, he's like, "This is ridiculous," and she's right.
I think
but he's
it's-
holding on to like this concept of fate that they're meant to be together for some reason, and it's a little. I think even for most high school kids watching this movie, they'd probably think that's a little strange.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just assuming that the last 4 years he hasn't had any girlfriends. He's always been pining for her.
Yeah.
It's very possible that this just popped back up once he heard.
Well,
He's
he
been rewriting a letter to her though,
Maybe
like
all
over
ninth
and over
grade.
and over again.
I guess if he's been doing it for 4 years, he's a bit of a stalker.
It's a bit obsessive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would probably recommend some form of therapy for
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
And this is why maybe it's not a great idea to watch a movie made for teenagers when you're 44 years old.
I still enjoyed it.
I enjoy it.
It has one of my favorite moments in movie history, but we'll
we've
talk
already
about that
talked
later.
about those things.
The last four movies we watched were also maybe not Last Picture Show, but the last 3 movies we watched were basically made for teenagers.
Probably, yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think the fact that I saw this when I was a teenager helps, because if I saw it now for the first time, I'd be like, what? Well, this is stupid.
I would say American Graffiti was made for
That was probably made
people in their 20s
people in their
and
late
30s.
20s, early 30s,
Yeah.
to be nostalgic about high school. Yes,
because they were going off to die in a war.
I guess you could say Dazed Confused was too, but I think by amping up the stoner level in the marketing,
Oh, yeah, that
went
was-
straight to teens.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, that was okay.
All right. Anyway, cool. I won't be overly critical from this point forward, but I will point out some things that bug me.
Let's
still.
talk about the soundtrack so we can make him go back on his word right
There's 2 songs in this movie that play a lot that are.
I feel like there are 3 soundtracks to this movie,
okay.
and not including the score, which the score is really good. It's got a good theme like that.
Well,
runs
that's
throughout.
I think that's Matthew Sweet doing a
Is
lot
that
of that.
Matthew Sweet? It's good. I like that
Because he provides at least one song to it that they then turn into a
yeah.
yeah.
They kind of loop into
Yeah.
But there's like 3. There's sort of like the old classic rock soundtrack going on here.
I mean, Barry Manilow, for crying out loud.
But then there's also like Barry Manilow, which is none of that.
Right.
And like, but then you've got some Foreigner in there. You've got some Dire Straits,
Guns N' Roses.
but then you got they got
Tricky.
the Guns N' Roses and Tricky, and this soundtrack is all over the damn place. You have a few contemporary songs, mostly in the form of Smash Mouth and Third Eye Blind, which is just weird. A good Blink-182 song,
Yeah.
a Sneaker Pimp song.
Yep. I won't say I listened to this exact music in high school, but it's almost like a teenager's musical
Yeah,
taste.
it would have been. Yeah.
You know, like
can
you
buy that.
listen to a lot of different. I was discovering my parents' music. I was listening to the current music. I was finding my own stuff. Like it is kind of like where you're learning your musical taste.
It's
almost.
a departure though from the other movies we watched.
Absolutely, because
they were all era specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, just last week we were listening to stuff that's it's like in 1982. The Eagles were in their last year, so there's an Eagles song. There's a Fleetwood Mac song. There's
Cars.
Led Zeppelin. There's Tom Petty. There's
a lot of which
Jackson Brown writes the main theme song for our main character,
Yep.
essentially.
Yep.
I was kind of surprised, and I should have talked about this last week, that like American Girl was out already. I thought that was a later song, a later Petty song.
That was his first
or
album.
The Cars song was later in the 80s. For some reason, I was like, these feel like they're too new for this movie. How did they get in here?
Yeah.
But those songs are from the 70s.
Yeah, I guess.
Both
Yeah.
of them are.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. The soundtrack is quite strange. It is it's almost like, what can we get the rights to? And if we want to sell the soundtrack, how do we sell it to 90s teens? Well, we got to get Smash Mouth.
Right.
We got to get Smash Mouth, Third Eye Blind, and Blink-182 on here, and we'll sell records.
Yeah.
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 And I think I had that soundtrack because there were a couple of the other songs on there that were good.
And a lot of the
and
songs...
I think that's an edited version of Damn It, too.
Oh, really? A lot of the songs
Again, because
aren't...
they got to sell it to the teenagers.
There's probably like 30 to 40 songs in this movie, and I think about 30 of them didn't make it on a soundtrack.
No.
Yeah.
No, they were just whatever we can license
Like they
for
ain't
this
putting
now.
fucking Dire Straits on the Can't Hardly Wait soundtrack.
No.
But it's in the movie.
Yep. Yeah. So, okay. So, last day of school.
Yes, last day of school, and there's going to be a party. Whose party is it? It's the girl from French class, or the girl from gym, or the girl, like everybody knows her from somewhere, but they don't really know her.
Right. She's the uptight brunette chick in whatever class we had her with.
Yes, and her progression in this movie is kind of funny.
She goes crazy.
But Preston decides that since Amanda's going to be at that party, he's changing plans with Denise. He's like, nope, I'm going to this party. It's fate.
And you're coming with me.
And you're coming with me. What else are you going to do on this fine graduation day? So they
probably not go to her own open house.
Yeah, probably not. And then we have...
That's what I did.
You skipped your open house?
No, I went to my open house on graduation day.
Nice.
So I always wondered how that worked, because I didn't graduate from a traditional high school. This has probably been established before, so I didn't have the experience of graduating with a large class and everybody having open houses. How the hell do you schedule all of those?
So some of them were scheduled on Saturday. Some of them were scheduled Friday night. when we graduated on Sunday, as it turned out, mine might have actually been the day before
But how
graduation.
do you go to other people's open houses?
Well, okay, so it depends. So what was funny, one of my really good friends lived the next street over in almost an identical house to my brother and sister-in-law who hosted my graduation open house, and he walked over, and then after mine, I walked over to his for a little bit. But yeah, that's just how it is. And most of the time, it's not really kids that are going. I mean, like if you're next door neighbor with somebody, then you go. But like
You're
it's
hoping
mostly
your family
for.
shows up and gives you money.
It's exactly right.
But Lauren Ambrose ain't
it
having
is-
an open house. Like she is not that type of chick.
I wasn't really. I was more like her than I would be like anybody else in this movie.
I
got fucking paid that day. Yeah, it's like it's like a bar mitzvah
You didn't have
for every high school situation.
Did you move like right after you graduated? Is that what happened?
Yeah, so my family was here in Indiana, and I finished out
And
the
you were-
last half of my senior year at a buddy's house.
Yeah, that's rough.
And then I think I stayed maybe like 3-4 weeks to enjoy summer with friends, and then my dad picked me up and brought me back to Indy.
Jeez.
Then my life was hell ever since.
Did you eat it or did you beat cheeks?
I yeeted out of.
Did you beat eat?
I beat Yeats. Well, there's a new one. The kids can say that one.
I sure can.
That's bringing the old and the new together and making something new.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I am a trailblazer.
Yep. You surely are. So Preston is convinced that fate is bringing Amanda and him together for no good reason other than Barry Manilow is playing on the radio the song Mandy,
Right.
which yeah, it's so weird the way Barry Manilow is kind of threaded. Jason, I think you said this
Yeah.
while we're watching it.
I remember watching this in the 90s when it
Being
came
like,
out.
who
in
the
theater.
hell
It
is
was like,
Barry
I knew
Manilow?
who Barry Manilow was. Like, why the fuck is he a factor in this movie? Like, and why would Preston care about Barry Manilow?
It's so weird because the fascination of that one song is kind of this was kind of part of that early stage of that hyper fascination on like a pop culture sort of thing. Because like just a few years later, there's Saving Silverman, which has a hyper fascination
With Neil
on
Diamond.
Neil Diamond.
Neil
He
Diamond
deserves it.
Neil
though.
Diamond
Well-
kind of had like a weird moment though, where he was coming back,
Yeah, because he had like a new album in the early 2000s
Yeah.
or something. Yeah,
and he did the album with Rick Rubin, and that's
Yeah.
kind of what kind of brought people our age back around to Neil.
Rick Rubin can produce some mean albums.
He sure can. But I also want to point out though that it's weird. It's a weird choice, but it's also pointed out by Denise, Lauren Ambrose. Denise is Preston's best friend. That why are you even listening to a radio station that plays Barry Manilow?
Yeah.
Like, why would you even encounter this song on
Yeah.
your radio?
Fate.
Right.
It's fate, man.
Right. So it's a little weird.
But there is a reason why that he doesn't know that is revealed later. That they're playing Mandy at the
right.
top of the hour every hour because it's Barry Manilow's birthday.
Yeah.
Which is again, I mean, it's
Like,
one of those.
that's another level of fate could be though. You know?
I mean, I guess, but really, what it is it's an inside joke that made its way into a movie where it's
Yeah.
like, wouldn't it be funny if? And they're like, haha, and then they wrote it as a place marker joke,
It has
and they
a-
just kept it.
It has a few good jokes
It
like
does. It does.
related to it. Like when Denise tells him the song's about a dog and she keeps talking about it and he's like, "Will you shut up about the dog?"
He doesn't even raise his voice though like that. He
No,
just
he's
has this intense look on his face.
super
Would you
intense.
shut up about the dog?
So that's funny. There's one later too with the Scott Baio situation.
Yeah,
we'll
Jenna
talk about.
Elfman,
That's
that's
really funny. But yeah, so they get right to the party, which is kind of weird. Like every time I watch this movie, I'm like, man, they're at the party already. This movie's going to be over in like 5 minutes, but it's not.
No, the rest
they
of the
do-
movie is at the party.
Yes, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. So everybody has shown up to the party.
Yeah.
But we also meet Mike Dexter, who has broken up with Amanda, and he wants his buddies to break up with their girlfriends because
They suck.
they suck, and he wants to hang out. He wants to bro out all summer.
Yeah. He imagines like ladies just hanging off him all the time, everywhere.
But bros before hoes.
Yeah.
That's something the kids still say, right?
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Right on.
That saying hasn't beat Yeats yet. Everyone's going to stop listening to this show now.
Man, those eats are fresh. Anyway.
God, yikes!
I wish I never mentioned that word.
So anyways, somebody out there is going to appreciate our bullshit. We're not going to get mentioned on Facebook anymore.
Nope.
Or by Twitter.
on the Twitters.
Yeah, anyway, so the so they're going to plan it. Now, here, all due respect to Jennifer Love Hewitt. One of the guys is dating Jamie Presley.
Uh-huh.
He ain't breaking up with Jamie Presley.
No way.
No. Nope.
Oh, we also have to mention that prior to the party, William Lichter explains his plan.
Yes, that's Charlie Corso, the kid from one of my favorite movies that we've covered.
The shit show.
Dick Tracy.
I had to say
The
that.
embarrassment.
Sorry. He's really great in that movie too. Like he steals scenes
Mhm.
in that
He's a
movie
good actor.
too.
I wonder what he's up to.
Yes, he introduces himself via a collection of objects that are pieces that he has held on to that tokenize the pain that Mike Dexter has inflicted upon him. In fact, he says Mike Dexter has made a hobby of my pain.
Yes, so good. Like right in this moment, you know how great this guy is because he's hung on to the pudding pants. I haven't forgotten about this.
Nobody else
has
either. Yeah,
yeah, and whatever other things he happens, and then he's
my favorite is an eye patch, which I had to wear for 2 months after Mike Dexter threw a raisin in my eye.
Yep.
My parents took me to a 3D film festival. I saw no third dimension.
So good. And then he ends it by talking part of the Bill Pullman speech from Independence Day.
Yeah.
And he's got a plan which is using the White House as the pool house
At this party, yeah.
So it kind of looks like Independence Day too.
Right.
Oh God.
And his friends
so good.
are arguing over being Boba Fett or Grand Moff Tarkin. He's like, fine, you're both Kiss dolls. That scene is just so great.
Yeah. So now we get to the party. We've got it's madhouse. It's a madhouse. I would not be happy at this party.
There's always something going on in the background at this party.
Always. There's so much fun to watch the background in this movie because I catch something new every time.
Yeah.
Well, and also, can you? And it's a game of can you name the such and such actor?
Yeah, that's definitely that.
It's a lot like
roughly
Fast Times
our
that way.
age. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Although this one does it by far more than Fast Times, I think.
I think so
yeah.
too. Yeah, I mean, it seems like every scene. I mean, there's the one actor who played Tara from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She's only in like one thing, and she's like
She doesn't even talk.
and she's looking at something. I think like she's on drugs. I'm pretty sure her scene was cut.
Probably.
There was a lot of that happened in this movie, but she's in there.
She's right in front. Like people are walking behind her.
Yep.
And they cross spot, and she's right there in front. Yeah.
You got Selma Blair in one quick little scene. Clea Duvall in one quick little
Jason
scene.
Segel.
Jason Segel, yeah, probably one of the bigger names. Yeah,
Yeah, to come out of it like later on. Yeah,
totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, I saw Marisol Nichols in there. Yeah, it's like she looks really familiar. I think she's really hot. And I'm like, that's Marisol Nichols. It's like, that's how I put it all together.
She's really hot. Yeah, that was
it's
your
like
second
that
jump, and then you were there.
Yep, 1998. Hot. Marisol Nichols.
Thanks for bringing us on a trip into Jeff's brain.
It's not great.
I feel a little like I mixed Ghiblies with you.
Don't mix Ghiblies.
Hopefully you listened to last week to hear Jeff's mixing Ghiblies stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man.
If you didn't go back now. So everyone's arriving to the party. You have Melissa Joan Hart, who's the cheerleader.
Yep. So I got a funny story about her. Most of this movie is filmed at night.
This isn't like a Judge Reinhold situation where someone walked in on you in the bathroom, is it? Because we're talking about Melissa Joan Hart.
Well, not this story.
Jeff will
So
explain
you
it
have
all.
you
if
have
you're
to
just
listen
patient.
to last week's episode to understand that joke,
Yes,
kids.
you do.
All right, so
Wait, is she Clarissa Explains It All?
Yep.
That's Melissa
Uh-huh.
Joan Hart.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep, that's her.
so
And
Melissa
Sabrina
Joan,
the Teenage Witch.
yes. So okay, this movie was entirely filmed at night for the most part. Like all the party stuff was like super late night filming. So Melissa Joan Hart was in the middle of filming the second season of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. At the same time, she took B12 vitamins to stay energized during the all night shoots. Jennifer Love Hewitt was skeptical when Hart offered them to her because she was convinced they were drugs.
Oh my gosh,
That's
that's
kinda
amazing.
hilarious.
That's hilarious. Because I'm not sure B12 does quite that well with energy.
B12 and folic acid help you break down food and actually get more of the nutrients from your food than you may normally through your digestive system.
I would just drink giant monsters.
You would,
Yes.
but I actually take B12 and folic acid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Yep.
So
And
can
Jason
you
is
do
full
all
of
night
energy,
shots?
Full of
so
energy.
we know it works.
I take it for anxiety.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi,
Hey,
Chuck,
how are you?
continue
So,
on.
just
okay.
saying.
Yes. So we have everyone entering the party. Preston and Denise show up. Seth Green shows up and has a really hilarious moment when he's asked to sign the yearbook, and he's like, "No thanks, no time." I think that's what he says.
Seth
anyways.
Green is amazing in this.
He really is. He is completely committed.
And you know he's probably more of a pro in this than anybody else because 10 years prior he was Allison Hannigan's date in My Stepmother is an Alien. And when he
Wow.
was
So how old was he in this then?
mid-20s.
Yeah.
He had also been a recurring character on Buffy the Vampire
Well,
Slayer.
yeah, he
at
was
this
Oz.
point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that was
And
a
he'd been
big
in Austin
selling
Powers
point.
already.
Yep. Yeah, he
Yep.
would have. Yep.
So
Scott Evil.
He's so great as Scott Evil. He's so great.
Yeah.
I have a gun in my room. I'll go get it, and we'll just shoot him right now.
we may have to do that movie
Oh my
in the
God.
future.
Let's do the whole trilogy. I'm in. We'll talk about the same thing every episode because all the jokes are regurgitated.
Yeah, they
are.
But they kind of get better.
They
each
get
time,
better.
too.
It's the rule of threes.
Yeah,
they got to
it is.
regurgitate those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So he shows up to the party. His whole mission is to get laid. There's always one of those. It seems like in a lot of these movies.
But there's a lot of those in this movie.
There is. Very true. But and then Preston is there to divulge his love to Amanda.
Yeah, he has the letter that he's rewritten a billion times. with
Right.
him.
His friend Denise is there just because she's got nothing better to do.
And most of the time, she's stuck by herself in awkward scenarios.
Well, he basically ditches her at one point.
pretty much.
And
It's
they
like,
agree.
all right, well,
He's like, well, she's like, I guess I'll find my own way home. And you wonder, like, who's going to actually give her a ride home? Because she doesn't have any other friends. It's kind of sad.
yeah, it's like at that point they should have been playing the Cars Drive
Yeah. Yeah.
because that would have fit in the soundtrack.
It sure would
It
have.
wouldn't have made it to the disc, but it would have been in the movie. Like he's like, all right, well, thanks for coming. Bye.
Yeah, I made you come, and now I'm ditching you. Cool.
Yep.
That's also
Another great
kind of
Preston
what
moment.
that's kind of what Special K does later too.
Yeah.
Or what she kind of does to Special K. I made you come. No, see you later.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe you'll be better next time. Maybe it'll go longer. That is such an awkward scene.
It really
And then
is.
you've got what's his name? The nerdy kid.
William Lichter.
What's his character's name?
William Lichter.
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
that's Charlie
Jesus, you're right.
Carso.
Thank you. Oh my god, I got him mixed up. Yeah, he's there. And his whole thing is he's gonna blend in. This kills me.
It's so fun.
It's so great. He explains to his friends that he's got a alcohol tracking card system that he downloaded from the internet.
They treat the computer like something that only nerds do.
Right.
That should have been like 10 years earlier.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like in the late 80s.
For
not
sure.
98. We were all emailing people by then.
Actually, I don't think I had an email address yet. I didn't have an email address until I moved to California, and I started at community college.
Okay, fair.
But anyway,
that's still around 98.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he's gonna drink beer, but he's not gonna drink enough beer to impair himself.
Right.
Well, that doesn't work.
No, I mean, he takes one sip
That's
and he's like,
right out.
The beer is gone bad. Nobody
drink the beer.
And somebody says, tastes fine.
Tastes like beer.
One guy says, it's great.
So yeah, after like a half a minute, he is already drunk and he's like looking at the card and he can't read it, so he hands it to another guy. He's like, I want you to have that. He's like, thanks. So his plan, is already kind of out the window because he doesn't even know what he's supposed to be there for anymore.
He forgets. He gets caught up in a moment. He's suddenly popular.
He does a great rendition of Paradise City.
Yes, he does.
Yes.
He's kind of having his moment right now. all the like a lot of the women want to like make out with him and other things. He goes in the makeout room,
hold his laser pointer,
hold his laser pointer.
And then Marisol Nichols gets like straight armed out of the way by another girl, and then she cries over it. And I'm like, I'll take care of that.
If we're going to talk about that already, I have to talk about that scene because it's one of my favorite things ever in a movie. Is when William Lichter does the Spicoli and he's like, "Hey, I know this song. I know this song."
Yeah, there's a guy who's like your typical like the guy who would be playing like Metallica or Guns N' Roses, like, you know, wearing all black, and he's got like his hair in a bandana and everything, and he's like rocking out on stage.
He's like, I'll be the band, and,
yeah,
he holds up his CD player, his boombox,
and he turns it on, then he just like starts rocking out by himself,
like air guitaring to Paradise City,
and then so William's like, hey, wait a minute, and so he's like, a guy I tutored in math made me listen to it all the time.
Yeah, so he runs up there, kind of bumps the metalhead out of the way.
Oh, he flattens that dude.
Yeah, he flattens him. Yeah. And it's so funny because they leave his singing in and it's so bad.
Yes.
It's like a little lower than the level that the song is playing
it's a
at,
different
but it's
octave.
so bad. And but girls start to like him and everyone's chanting and yelling for him, and
a couple people at first are booing him. But then it starts to gather some steam.
Yes.
Yeah, and his performance starts to win people over.
Yes. And
if not his singing.
And I think, is it Marisol Nichols that shows him her boobs?
Nope. That was just somebody else.
Was it?
Yeah, it was just another girl in a very similar top that's on somebody's shoulders.
He briefly faints and falls off the table he's on, and you think, like, the first time I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's over. That was so much fun.
That was the joke. Cool. Cut to the next
scene. And then
scene.
he just comes fucking jumping.
Oh, he does like one of those chair jumps that those crazy people in CrossFit do. You know, where they have to jump up on platforms.
Yeah.
He does one of those.
Yeah, he's so
from
high
out of nowhere. And lands back on the table on his feet, and then the microphone somehow
off screen
comes up to him and he catches it.
I wonder if that was,
and it's perfectly edited to the music.
I wonder if the guy who threw the microphone up was the same guy who took the champagne flute.
I knew you were going to do that. I knew you were going to do that. Has that episode aired yet?
Yes.
Okay. So you know what we're talking about. I can't remember the order.
Man.
My bad. That's
really funny. Honestly, everything with William is pretty damn funny.
Yeah, he's hysterical.
Yeah, so we'll come back to him here in a moment, because after this he's really drunk and he's gonna go make Mike feel better, but we'll get back to that.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. So Mike, well, where do we go from here?
Well,
so
Mike's
hard because
buddies,
it's one large party to just talk about.
Mike's buddies are clearly not going to break up with their girlfriends.
No, because that one dude is dating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So that's not going to happen. Plus, I think that one of them has Pearl Jam connections.
They got Pearl Jam tickets in August, so it's going to be a couple months before they'll do the breakup.
Yeah.
And Mike's like, well, you guys are dicks.
No, he
And
says,
then
you suck.
Yeah, you
He just
suck.
walks off.
The other guy's like, it's Pearl Jam.
It's Pearl Jam.
Fair enough.
Might be a good time to drop a Pearl Jam song into the soundtrack, but whatever.
No, they're trying so hard to be Cameron Crowe in this movie, and they just can't Do it.
Yeah. I think you're right about that. It's
Yeah.
the soundtrack is very throwing shit at the wall.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, kids know this song, or their parents know this song.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't hardly wait to watch.
We
it
also
again.
have a running joke going throughout the movie with the band Love Burger.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, can I talk about Love Burger?
Yeah.
I'm wearing the
wearing the
merch.
shirt.
I'm wearing the merch.
Which took me 4 hours today to realize Jeff was wearing.
So Love Burger is headed up by Breckin Meyer, who looks like he's dressed like Prince.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact,
Incidentally, Breckin Meyer is married to one of the directors of
directors,
this movie. Yeah.
and the drummer is Donald Faison from Clueless, from Scrubs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is their first show together. They've been a band, but this is the first time they've actually gotten a gig. And they can't even get started because one of the other guitarists puts on their own band shirt that pisses off Breckin Meyer. So it starts this huge fight. And Donald Faison calls Breckin Meyer something related to Prince.
Does he?
Yeah. I can't remember what.
Something Paisley or something.
Yeah,
I
I can't remember what it was because Donald Faison wanted to wear a cowboy hat.
Well, yeah, he's
and he
like,
makes him look like Hootie.
Well,
That's
yeah,
what they
he
say.
does. It makes him look like Hootie. But what's funny is he says, well, if he's gonna wear the shirt, I'm gonna wear my hat.
and it all devolves into the band breaking up.
Oh, it's so great.
But it's kind of broken. Like
It's broken up throughout the movie. Yeah.
right. So it keeps coming back to them.
They're in little
escalating.
little short joke vignettes throughout
Right.
the movie. Yeah.
That's escalating because like at one point like Breckin Meyer's got like this doll on the like tied to his mic stand and Donald Faison's like tearing the leg off and throwing it and stuff like that. So yeah, it's basically just ever so slightly progressing worse and worse with that
Until
band.
to the point where they do break up.
But they decide to get back together.
They have a
one
reunion.
for old times'
We'll
sake.
play old songs, not any new ones.
You know, play some old songs and none of the new stuff. But then that's when the cops come and break up the party.
Yeah, they never play a
They never
single
play a
note.
song. Yep.
No.
Yep. The drummer's counting off, and then the cops come in.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's their arc.
Yep.
Yep.
The Love Burger.
Love Burger.
Did somebody order a Love Burger?
Well done.
You already said that earlier.
Yep.
I didn't say you did.
No, that's
Um,
great. I mean, we were talking about it now. So
Yeah, so Preston is kind of the whole party sneaking around trying to get the courage to talk to Amanda, right? And she at one point she's been talking to her second cousin for a couple hours.
well, wait, we got to go
Go
back
ahead.
to
By
when
marriage.
she's talking about the friends because he's peeking in.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so as soon as she gets there, the three other girlfriends that are all supposed to be broken up with bum rush her, and it's like, oh, we need to go talk, and they go off to a
She
room.
looks distraught, suicidal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all that stuff.
So they go and they have a talk with her in another room, and Preston decides he's going to. This is the point where he basically ditches Denise
Yes.
and says, okay, I'm going to wait for the perfect opportunity. I know where she's at, and I'll just kind of hang out, basically. And he's awkwardly kind of watching and eavesdropping, and then she like the girls are all trying to like lift her spirits, but it feels all fakey to
Also
Amanda.
fake. Yeah.
And so she's like, you know what? Nah, I'm done with this. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go to another part of the party. I'm kind of done with this conversation. So she starts walking out of the room. At which point Preston realizes he's had.
Yes, and he's trying
So-
to run
He
away.
starts to walk in another direction as if he's trying to go like as if he's just naturally passing. To which he just runs into the wall.
Yep. It's very
it's
funny.
the-
It's so
it's the
fast you could
stuff
almost
like-
miss it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's stuff like that is where this movie shines.
Yes.
Because it's the you got to do this thing, you got to psych yourself up to it, and then you just fuck it up real bad.
The party is its own character in this movie,
Yes.
and the location of the party as well, because you definitely get a sense of you understand the geography of the place.
Right.
You never really feel lost about where you are in the house. It's small enough, and it's also small enough to the point where those little funny things are just bound to happen. People are
Right.
constantly bumping into each other. Altercations are happening. You pick up conversations, and then if you're really watching the background, the production team has just put all sorts of stuff happening, with all the extras, and it's a ton of.
There are people climbing up on the roof. There are
do.
people,
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought they do a great job too with the way that they pass off characters.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
like.
It's
It looks like
transitional.
one cut a lot. It's not one cut,
Right.
obviously, but it looks like one cut a
Yeah.
lot. Like when you see the band setting up, and then it like goes through the window, and you see William and his friends going to set up at the pool house. And
Well,
then
it's a lot like you're walking through the party.
yeah, you're there.
You're there. Yeah.
You do feel like you're a member of the party. That's a pretty astonishing thing to pull off, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so there's another time in which Amanda's kind of off by herself, and Preston's gonna go and kind of sit near her and find a way to strike up the conversation. And there's another running joke where there's this guy that's been kind of following Preston around, telling old, funny, embarrassing stories.
Yes.
Which are, like, to be honest with you, telling this story when you're 20 would be funny, and it's something that's like, hey, come over here when you're at the party in college. Come over here and listen to these stories that are stupid and funny, and everybody's having a good time. When you're 18 and you're incredibly hyper neurotic about a particular thing, it is hell.
He's also looking forward.
Right.
He's looking forward. This guy's looking backward.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's like, I don't have time for this. And he's cordial with him. He's nice with him
Until this moment.
yes, where he comes and sits next to Preston. He tells the story about
Puke in a backpack, isn't it?
he pukes in a backpack, and Jennifer Love Hewitt is actually laughing.
She's
at
laughing.
it.
She finds it cute, you know.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
finds it cute, but he's mortified.
Yeah.
And he's like, that wasn't my bag. He's like, oh, I'm pretty sure it looked like your bag. I thought it was your bag.
And remember, I picked it up and I went after you with it. And I said, Preston, this is your bag.
And then the principal came the next day asking everybody whose bag it was.
So good. I love that he was doing in the present exactly what he did to him in the past.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, at that point, Preston gets upset with this guy.
Another asshole Preston move. He's kind of a bad guy.
Yeah, sometimes he is. He's like, hey, remember that one time I was about to talk to the beautiful girl, and this guy came up and was telling all these asinine stories about stuff that, that happened in the past, and they were super embarrassing. And the guy's like, no, I don't remember that. It's like, well, it's funny because it just happened.
Yes.
And the guy gets like,
Defensive.
well, not defensive. He's offended.
Yeah.
What's
he's-
really funny, the joke here is that he says, I'm going to remember that.
Yes.
When obviously he will remember
Right.
that. He remembers everything.
Yep.
Right. This is coming back someday.
Yes.
Well, then he also says, well, see if I remember to invite you to the 10-year reunion or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Like I've never gone to a reunion ever, so I don't care. I don't care. It's like
You are Denise.
I kind of am. I mean, I'm friends with the people I'm friends with on Facebook that I had some sort of connection with. Other than that, it's like, don't invite me to your, I don't, I'm not going to tell you what I do in my life.
You're such a curmudgeon. You're like, you could beat Yeats with this this reunion talk, boys.
Well, speaking of that, this might be a good time to mention that supposedly Jennifer Love Hewitt is developing a sequel that she plans to direct. This was announced in 2019. I don't know if that's still going to happen, but I would assume it'd be a 20 or 25-year reunion or something, which I don't know that the world needs that.
Can't hardly reunion.
Yeah.
Reunion
Hey,
can't
we
wait.
did
waited.
definitely wait.
We waited.
We waited.
This also feels like this is another thing. It feels like this movie was retitled that. Probably. I think that happened a lot with these types of movies where it's like, well, we got a song we can use.
Yeah, which that's a weird thing too. I mean, the replacement song "Can't Hardly Wait" was from 1985.
Right, but they probably found out they can use it. It's like, just call it that.
I mean, it's a great song, but it's a weird song for a 90s teen movie.
Yeah.
Could be
It's
the
a
anchor of a
song
90s
that
teen
Cameron
movie.
Crowe would choose.
Right.
Yeah.
That's. I mean,
about a movie set in the 80s.
yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Probably in a Minnesota high school or something.
Yes.
That's Loser. That's a different movie.
Was that in Minnesota?
Yeah.
I don't remember that movie.
Or at
well.
least that's where the Jason Biggs character came from, because nobody understood what
I
a
will
scotch
say that
was.
you mentioned some movies, and I know there were a lot of these teen comedies in the 90s, but this, to its credit, is the one that cut through for me. And that's the one that I've revisited. A lot of those I've never seen again. I'll never see again. I have no desire to sit down and watch She's All That again. I just don't have any desire.
What's funny is She's All That has become more interesting as a pop culture joke.
Yeah.
As a the take the glasses off the nerdy girl and wow, she's the
Right.
prom queen.
Right. It's become like the obvious trope movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's actually a recurring joke on Brad Jones's stuff, reviews and stuff. So yeah, it's like that's a yeah. I mean it's
Am I a joke? Am I a bet? Am I a stupid bet?
yeah. But I mean, but there's stuff like that are like I haven't seen that movie probably in 20 years either, but it was fine for what I mean. It was
Sure. I'm making the point that this movie of that slate of 90s teen comedies is the one that I think shines, or one of the ones that shines.
Well, it's because I think this gives enough characters to where you can like identify with some people or all of them at some point.
For me, I just think it's because it's funny.
Yeah, well,
I don't
fair
even
enough.
really feel all that nostalgic about it. I just think it's actually just a really funny movie.
Yeah.
But it's not. I don't feel like it's on the level of the other movies we watched this month.
Oh no, but I mean, no. This was the fun one.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this one's the let's do it for fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was one that represents the 90s.
Well, you had mentioned Clueless as a possibility,
But that is more fun. With there are some interesting things in it. It's like if we would have wanted to, like what would have been on the same level as something like Last Picture Show.
oh, I know. I mean, that's hard.
Yeah, I mean,
Would you say that the movie of the aughts is Mean Girls?
yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that earlier. It's like Mean Girls is the only one I can think of outside of maybe not another teen movie.
Oh God, that's pretty funny. It's been a long time since I've seen that.
Well, that's the one thing that I appreciate from 10 Things I Hate About You is that Chris Evans makes that scene where he's singing to the girl extremely funny in that movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, could you think of any other of this type of movie from the aughts, Chuck? Mean Girls is the only one that sticks out for me.
Yeah, no, I can't, and I probably wouldn't seek them out like in the aughts because I can't relate to them. I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe they have thematically there's stuff that I can relate to, but no, I've seen Mean Girls, and that's the only one I can remember.
Yeah,
honestly.
that was like when I was working at a movie theater. It's like what's funny is that most of the teen movies that came in those first 5 years of the odds that I watched were like there were movies that it's like, well, I guess I'm going to get paid to watch The President's Daughter or whatever that Hillary Duff movie was, or the Lizzie McGuire movie.
Well, hell, I mean,
I got paid to watch that, and it's like, okay, well, I guess this is fine for that.
I mean,
that's not the same thing.
I would have been 25 when Mean Girls came out, and it was. I think what intrigued me the most about that movie was that it was directed by Tina Fey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she has Tim Meadows is in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess maybe Juno.
Oh, Juno's a very good choice.
Yeah,
Yep.
Juno would be pretty good.
Hard Candy came out in 2005.
No.
I've never actually seen that one.
No, that's more of like a dark thriller.
Okay. Would you consider, and I know this was 90s anyways, but Scream is kind of a teen movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if we can fit that in on the calendar.
I will say that I fucking love that movie. So if you want to talk about it, I'm down.
All right,
I
let's do it.
I actually agree, and obviously, Scream was kind of like the template then for a lot of like new teen slashers that much to
I Know What
Jeff's
You Did Last
chagrin.
Summer.
Yeah. Oh God, those movies are really bad. And there was lots. There was
Well,
lots that came
okay.
out.
It's kind of
We'll-
like the people
we'll
that
talk
hate
about
Pearl Jam because that there's so much derivative bullshit.
Or the style of singing.
Okay, wait a
Any
minute.
better?
Okay, wait a minute. Did that? I feel like that was a dig.
Not at you.
No,
Not at-
no. We'll talk about it much more in 3
But
weeks.
yeah, we've got
Yes.
Scream in a few weeks.
The one thing I will say is that it's more a guy who got hired a bunch to make these types of things that I feel like was not the credit that he should have gotten. Kevin Williamson is not the guy who should have gotten
we've
the
already
credit.
dipped our toes a little bit into that conversation by mentioning Dawson's Creek. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's a lot to unpack there
So
in that episode.
we will get to that
Yeah.
in a few weeks. In the meantime, so let's take us back to the party.
Yes.
Yeah, so where are we? Mike's friends aren't breaking up with their girlfriends. So,
Right.
So he's kind of
he's dejected a little
sulking
bit.
and kind of alone now.
And he goes out and sits on a bench or on a swing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he tries to talk to these two girls, and he's like, "Hey, I heard you said I'm the hottest thing in the school." And they're like, "Hey, we heard you called us skanks."
Yeah.
And then they just show him swinging on the bench by
Yeah, that
himself.
was a pretty good comedy.
yeah.
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 But he is there's a sexual tyrannosaur walking around in the form of
Jerry O'Connell.
Jerry O'Connell,
As Trip
Yes.
Neely.
Trip Neely.
Yeah. Mike
I think
Dexter and
sometimes
Trip
he's called
Neely.
Trent, and sometimes he's called Trip.
It's
I think
Trip,
There might
I
be a
think.
mistake
It's
in
Trip.
there. I'm pretty sure it's Trip.
But he comes in and he's like, "Man, you got to hold on to your girl." 'Cause
Cautionary tale is
Yeah.
what he is.
It's like
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
hot shit, and I went and I was a freshman in college. I can't even get phone numbers.
Yeah.
And
They all want to date older guys, and all of them are
Pre-meds.
pre-meds.
You know,
So funny.
guys like us are a dime a dozen.
Yep. And he
There's
burps
nothing special
and
about
farts.
us. Yep.
And then he says, "That's so make sure you stay with Amanda. She was like
She was a hot
She's
item.
she's a good catch.
she's a good
basically.
hot item.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hot item.
Yeah.
Um.
And there's a cringy joke too when Mike Dexter says, "Man, there's still girls that talk about you,"
Oh no.
and then Jerry O'Connell says, "Oh, really? Which ones?"
And he starts looking around,
Yeah.
Well,
which
he
is
acts
why
like
he's
he
there.
just graduated the year before, right? I mean, it is cringy,
It could
but
be. It could be the year before.
I have a feeling he's.
because I think he says he's a
2021.
freshman.
Well, I thought he definitely said he couldn't get digits when he was a freshman.
Okay,
It's just-
So I don't know.
It's really unknown. It is
It's
a little
it
bit.
is unknown. He's a little bit the
Matthew
the
McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey. Yeah.
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 Well, he's going someplace where he feels recognized, where he
Right.
feels
He's
special.
he's looking for some validation about
Right.
the good old days. Yep.
Right. That's another reason why I don't want to go to the
Right.
reunion, because there's going to be people who are going to be looking for that who
Yeah.
haven't
Yeah.
grown past that.
Nope.
Anyway, I'm thinking of a couple of people right now. Maybe I will go.
Oh,
You
boy.
should narrow your list to 10 people
Maybe I should.
and then show it to your friends.
Maybe what I should do is plan.
That's what
What's the joke?
Special K did. He narrowed his list to 10
Oh
people.
God, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Of potential.
Who's going to be one of the
Bedmates.
Yeah, he's going to
Yeah.
be one of the special 10. Anyway, so
Yeah.
no, that's not who I was talking about. I was talking
know,
about people I
I don't
wanted
know
to
why,
get
but I
revenge on.
had it popped into my head because of Jeff's his angst over this. I had Steve Buscemi and Billy Madison in mind.
Oh my God.
His people to kill list.
It can go both ways.
I'm
here, I
only
think.
I'm only going to cross people off while I'm listening to ELO's telephone line.
Are you gonna put lipstick on while you do
Yeah,
it?
and then cross off the name with the lipstick. Yeah. So,
Hopefully, one of them calls you and then apologizes,
Yep.
and you cross them off of your
Yep.
list.
anyway,
That was
so
very divergent.
it was.
I
I had a water boner there.
A little water boner. Drink.
Basically Tripp says like, hey, you can't break up with your girlfriend, you're not going to get any better. So he goes back in to track down Amanda and basically say, hey, let's go talk about us. And she's like, no. And he's like, well, you're stupid. And she's like, nah, I'm fine, I'm cool. And he's like, now the people are gathering and they're seeing that she is basically shutting him down.
Yeah.
She doesn't care about who he is. She doesn't want to be in that relationship. She had told her second cousin through marriage, who also tried to hit on her, that
He
She
didn't try to
didn't.
hit on her. He kissed her.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, fair enough. But yes,
Very insistently.
yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
To which Preston saw, so it's important he sees this moment.
I
and
hate that
he
shit movies, but yeah.
And he leaves the party.
Yeah.
And he goes
To listen to Barry Manilow, or try to call Barry Manilow. One time.
Yeah. He's sitting on the hood of his car,
He's
like,
looking for
recollecting
meaning.
everything, looking for meaning. Maybe I should have gotten a dog, which is kind of a funny joke.
Yeah, right. It's
Is
like,
that
no,
what
wait.
the sign was? No, that's not it.
Yeah, that's
Again, I'm thinking Preston, seek therapy.
Yes.
or find another girlfriend.
No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Other fish in the sea.
Yeah.
You know what I also like? I like that there's a platonic relationship in this movie. You don't see that very often.
Well, you almost expect it to be some kind of wonderful thing,
Right.
Yeah,
I-
which is fine for that,
Right.
but it's been overdone
But
since.
very, very much so. And I don't know if that was the plan to subvert that, but I'm very happy that they did, because you do kind of think, oh, is Lauren Ambrose in love with Preston?
Oh, they've been friends for
she's,
so
and
long.
she's just waiting for him to recognize her and see her and see their love. And
but
it's
no,
like,
they addressed that they dated for a week.
for a week in 8th grade, and it's great.
She was a bitch.
She was,
that
yeah,
whole
I
week.
was a bitch that whole entire week. Love her. So I want to say that I really appreciate them not going down that road.
Yes.
Yeah. So then, so he's gone, but she has found the note because he threw away the note, thinking, "Well, I don't know. This is all
There is
stupid.
no fate. It's dumb.
There is no fate but what you make." We're going to talk about that later this year too. Anyway,
You're teasing it all tonight.
anyway, so he leaves, and she finds the note, and at this point she's seeking out Preston, but she has no idea who he is.
Because she's shallow too. God, everyone is shallow in this
Yeah.
movie.
That's the real like message of this world.
High school kids. Are
Everybody
shallow.
fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Well, there's a, it's kind of addressed at the end, but there's just something about Amanda that I don't like. Like, she has to be with a guy. That perception
Yes.
that I don't have
I'm
a
not-
man,
I'm
and
not special.
and I've got to find one immediately.
She says, "I
because
don't know who
all
I
my
am
worth,
without him."
right? All my worth is in a man or a mate, and it's like, oh, I hate that. I hate that message.
He's about
Yeah.
to punch somebody.
Yeah.
And that's-
Probably you,
so-
because
so-
you were one to do
So
this
maybe
movie.
they're fucking perfect for each other, because they're a different kind of shallow, and that shallowness might work with them. I don't know, but it didn't work for Mike Dexter, so I don't know why it would work with them. Maybe it will.
Yeah, maybe they're still together, from what I hear.
Yeah, apparently the movie told us that at the end. It'd be interesting to see what happens in. No, it won't.
No.
Yeah, you can't go back on. See, this is the. I don't want a sequel to this, and I probably won't see it because you know why? You're trading on my nostalgia.
Yeah,
I have. You said you didn't really have nostalgia for this
I don't.
movie. I have some nostalgia for this movie. Chuck, I think you have nostalgia for this movie. But it's taking advantage of that, and it's like I don't fucking care.
But
so
I
I can
don't-
like
I
this
don't-
movie
I
as
don't
much
Unless
as-
she wants to fix some of the issues that it has, maybe it'll be worth it, but it'd probably have to be too serious.
I don't
just
like
remake
either
the
of those
movie.
characters enough to care about a sequel.
I want to know what William Lichter's doing.
I do too. Well, we know, but I want to see. Yeah, he would be funny. I think Lauren Ambrose and Seth Green would be funny.
Yeah.
in Seth Green, I trust.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Seth Green should write it.
Yeah. He should just do an episode of Robot Chicken with it.
Yeah. What I would hope they do is address all of that kind of like silliness
Yeah.
and maybe kind of pull something meaningful out of it. But I don't know.
Well, it would, yeah. Anyway, so we don't have to, it hurts my brain to think about that we could get a
Let's just talk about
25-year
this
later movie. Oh, I hate that shit. Oh, anyway,
So Mike Dexter has been humiliated,
yes,
and he turns to the drink.
he turns to the drink, he gets super drunk, and so while Preston's getting some sage advice from a stripper angel
Yeah.
Yeah.
played by Jenna Elfman. This is really a snapshot of 1998, man.
Yeah.
It's like 1998 yearbook right here.
But this is where the Mandy Barry Manilow joke like culminates and becomes kind of hilarious because she tells a story about how she'd been waiting to meet Scott Baio. And she finally had the opportunity to meet Scott Baio, and she froze, which is what Preston has continuously done with Amanda, right? And when she's leaving, she's like, don't miss your chance, go call Barry Manilow. And he's like, wait, no.
Yeah, tell him how you feel.
Yeah.
He's like, no, it's not it. She's like, we all have our thing. I mean, Scott Baio.
Boy, talk about another weirdo.
Which is funny now. It's
Yeah.
even funnier now. Like, you're like,
Oh, yeah.
Scott Baio. Yeah.
Yeah, it is even funny.
That is
now.
a bit cringy that you like that.
He's become a star in a Vic Berger video, so
Not a Love Burger video.
not a Love Burger video, that's for sure. Anyway, so he's gotten that sage advice, so he's gonna go. He's ready to take the chance again.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the song. That's the Barry Manilow song.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah,
And
good
he's
job.
he's headed back to the party, and so William has gone to okay, it's time. We've gotten him alone. I can maybe get him to come out to the pool house, and there's a girl out there. There's two girls out there. They're triplets,
Yeah.
and it sounds too good to, like I made it up. I didn't. They want you to watch them.
Yeah.
come on out.
I love how he delivers that. They want you to watch them.
He's really good at the overselling the drunk.
Yes.
Like, he's not good at being drunk, but his way of overselling it is awesome.
It's
Yeah.
very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on out. And so at that point, he starts to open up to to William, and they become friends for a little bit, like
Yeah.
drunk friends.
Yeah.
And
Sitting at the piano.
yeah, and so when the cops come in, he's like, "Oh my God, the cops!" And then it sounds like William starts doing like a Keystone Cops.
That's what I think
soundtrack.
he's doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious.
He
He's like,
starts
no, we gotta go.
So it's like, "Hey, let's go to the pool house where William's friends are
We can
waiting."
hide in there.
And he's like, "Wait, no, the pool house. Oh no!" So he tries to stop him, but then they get knocked out.
They both
Yeah,
get
his
tackled,
friends who had been on the
chloroformed.
roof had lost both of their flashlights because they were doing the Luke and
Lightsaber,
Darth
yeah.
lightsaber fight, and one of them got his hands cut off.
And he,
the
which then, of
flashlight
course,
rolls.
dropped the flashlight.
It's really funny. But
And
anyway,
then
so
he
they
pushes
can't see.
the other guy, and he drops the flashlight. It's like, "Hey, Luke didn't push Darth Vader."
Well, he should have. He cut off his hands.
But so they can't see. They just think it's Mike down there, and the friend that
Well, they
William
know
was
it's Mike. They hear him say, "Hey, hey, Willie, come on,"
yeah,
or
yeah.
Billy, or whatever he calls him.
It's funny that they're best friends, and he's calling him Willie now.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
He yeets the yearbook too. Willie does
Yeah, William is so popular now, he just yeets the yearbook into the pool.
into the pool.
Which, those are memories.
Those are memories.
Those are memories.
Those are
frozen in
memories
time.
for people for good times.
Yes. Yes. So they jump on him and knock him out and enact the plan, take off their clothes.
They
Kind-
put the host of snowballs on one of their.
I was trying to figure out what those were. Were those snowballs?
Those are snowballs.
Yeah, makes sense.
But then they decided to take a bite out of one of them.
Yeah. But they also take pictures, Polaroids, and throw them on him. And then they realize that it's William that they've tied up with Mike, and they're like, oh, shit, we better get out of here.
Yeah, because everybody's running by, and it's like, oh, shit. Hey, let's just get out of here.
And really, before that happens, Preston gets back to the party. And Amanda had been walking through, and every boy she sees wants to have sex with her.
Oh, man, she's gotten so much dick thrown at her at this point.
And she's kind of looking for Preston, right? But she still doesn't know who he is because, again, she's shallow.
She found the letter. Did you just establish that? I can't
Yes.
remember.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. She's read the letter. She's looking for Preston, but she has no idea who he is. She gets a very bad description of him that he sometimes wears T-shirts from Jason Segel.
He's got brown hair.
Yeah.
And he sometimes wears T-shirts.
Yeah.
And you've got the stoner kid who's doing his Slater impersonation from Days of Confused.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's kind of fun. It's been kind of fun watching these in progression to see all of the homage and someplace outright stealing like jokes from other movies.
Oh yeah, I mentioned that that Preston trying to call Barry Manilow and the radio station at a abandoned diner. It felt very like a remnant of American Graffiti.
Yeah, when he goes to get Wolfman Jack.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's calling from like a drive-up diner in that scene too.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
The only thing this movie is missing is Candy Clark.
Yeah. Is that the only thing?
Yeah.
That would be enough to make it complete for you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But every guy at the party has thrown themselves at Amanda, and she is obviously...
Even the guy with the memories, he's like, remember that one time you danced with me at the sock hop? Man, I didn't tell you this before. I had the biggest boner.
That'll work, buddy. That'll work.
Yep.
Bingo, you did it.
Yep.
Hope you remember that.
But she runs into Preston, and you feel like at this moment...
Well, he calls out to her from the deck. He's like,
balcony,
Amanda, I
yeah.
love you. And she stops. And she turns around. And he's like, and then he slips down the stairs a little bit. And
Bumps
he's like,
into everybody down the stairs.
This sounds weird, but ever since the first time you came to school and you had my favorite Pop-Tart, at which point I'm just thinking that most of the letter is about that fucking Pop-Tart. And then she's like, you know what? Fuck off everybody.
Well, she
Get the
should
fuck
have
outta
made the
here.
connection there, because if the Pop-Tart was in the letter,
It probably wasn't. He
she
probably
should have-
excised that.
She should have been like,
a
"Oh,
dummy.
you're Preston."
Or maybe how big is this fucking graduating class? Because again, if somebody came up to me and it's like, at the day I graduated school and said, hey, we graduated together just a few minutes ago. Oh, hey, Angie, or
Yeah,
Andy or whoever. Hey, I know you.
right.
She's not allowed to know who he is for the purpose of the story, and it's a stupid
But it's also
stupid decision.
to
go
me.
that
To me, it
route.
also kind of
It reveals something bad about her, though.
Yeah.
it reveals something bad about her, but it also makes his supposed love for her feel all that more infatuated.
Yeah,
Right?
there was no connection. She doesn't even
Right.
know who the fuck he is.
She doesn't know who he is. Like, dude, move on.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. God,
Yeah.
Preston.
Preston, you dummy, dumb.
But she does tell him to fuck off.
She does.
And he goes home and fucks off.
He
He
does
does.
that.
He does fuck right off.
But we also have another couple.
Yes,
who have
that are
gotten
forming.
Yes, they've gotten locked in a bathroom because the bathroom. So we got to go back to Seth Green because a lot has happened with him, right?
Yep.
He hears a girl talking about the next guy that even talks to me, I'll have sex with, and he falls over in his chair. He's like, "Hey, baby, why are you sad?" And,
Yeah.
all his rigmarole he throws at
That's
her.
rigmarole. That's the right word.
He throws it all at her, and she agrees. She's like, "Oh, he'll do fine."
He'll do. Yeah,
do fine.
because they're friends. Like, and he's like, he'll do.
But for some reason, he has to go.
He's got to go prep himself because he feels like he stinks.
Yes, and the bathroom is occupied downstairs.
And there's a gigantic line,
And
and,
there's
people cut the line.
Yes, and he's like, "Isn't there a bathroom upstairs?" And the hostess, who's getting her hair is getting progressively muddled because her
Right.
house is getting destroyed.
Well, she also sees that somebody has drawn mustaches on her family photo, and the dad says, "I really like boys."
Yeah.
Yes, and Seth Green blows in the person who supposedly did it, which is the foreign exchange student who hasn't learned anything all year.
Yeah.
Except for, I am sex machine.
I am a sex
and
machine.
would you like to
touch my penis.
Yeah. That character is not my favorite.
The first few times it's kind of funny. And
Well,
then
he
it's like,
disappears at the right time.
It is funny though when he is part of the heckling
of Chester.
of is it of Chester?
It is of Chester.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Cheetah.
it's special
Yeah,
K.
yeah,
but
yes. That is funny because he has now fallen below even the stature of the foreign exchange student
Yes.
in that
Right.
moment, and it's pretty deflating for him.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, the last time we see the foreign exchange student is when Preston's
Preston is
talking
talking to
about
someone,
like
yeah.
how important this letter is and how everything's in the letter. It's only one page, dude.
Yeah.
That's not looking good for you either.
Again, he's
Um,
just talking out loud.
It just
to
says Pop-Tart,
whomever
Pop-Tart.
will listen.
Yeah.
Like, Preston. Oh my God! I hope Kurt Vonnegut talks some sense into you in your workshop.
I feel like he's mailed an ear to somebody, you know?
Yeah.
But he says,
or he's about to.
or he's about to, maybe from the train.
Oh my!
Of course
goodness.
he takes a train. But anyway, so he and he's talking about and the guy, the foreign exchange guy is there, to which all he says is, "Would you like to touch my penis?
Yeah.
I am a sex machine."
And Preston
Just leaves.
just leaves.
Just leaves. But so Seth Green blows in that guy for having done the picture.
I've seen him walking around with a
Defacing.
permanent marker.
Yes, and she's like, "Okay, you." can use the upstairs bathroom.
Just
Which
don't
he goes
close it.
Don't
Yeah,
close it
don't
because the door is
'cause
fucked.
the
Yeah.
door's broken. And he starts practicing the Kama Sutra for some reason, which is really weird.
It's super goofy.
Yeah.
This is where they've really turned this character beyond goofy.
Well, he's a cartoon.
Into a cartoon. Yeah.
yeah.
And and meanwhile, Denise has gotten a pop brownie thrown at her face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That the guy tries to lick off.
Yes. And so she just sneaks upstairs, finds the bathroom, and
Seth Green had premature evacuation.
yes, he had spilled some water on his crotch. And so he's trying to blow dry it while trying to practice the Kama
And
Sutra.
he burned
And a con-
himself by blow drying his dick. Yeah.
2 whole things of condoms hanging out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I wouldn't put that shit near my mouth. That fucking latex is the grossest smell in the world.
Well, it was in a package.
The packages smell like the fucking gross ass latex. Anyway, I got a hang up, man, about latex
And Ghiblies.
and Ghiblies and the Ghiblies that go in through latex. Anyway, so he's like, and she's like freaking out, and he's like, "Close the door." She closes the door. And he's like, "No, I mean get out."
Right.
And now they're locked in. So what do, Chuck?
They have sex.
They sure do. They talk about their history together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a bunch of stuff about second grade and further. That's another thing. It's like by the time I'm in 12th grade, I don't give a shit about what happened in second grade anymore. But that's okay.
Kenny became too cool for her and told someone to write something shitty about her on a locker.
Denise is a tampon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Denise is a tampon, and yeah, Kenny became a slave to the being popular machine. But I don't know how he became what he is.
But yeah,
trying to be
he
popular.
kind of like became. It's someone who's trying too hard. I mean, it's what a poser is, right?
Yeah.
And he found acceptance among some kids who were behaving the same way, but slowly she breaks down the facade of his poserism, and they start to connect again as former friends. And it's like, I think the movie kind of acknowledges that romance is probably going to be fleeting,
right.
but it's high school, right? I mean, that's one of the only romances.
Hey, might as well fuck around during college
It's
during summer.
It's one of the kind of only things that makes sense relationship-wise to me in this movie.
Well, yeah, because also we do find out what everybody's plans are, like in their little bios that we see.
Yeah.
Like she's going to NYU, he's going to UCLA.
Right.
Yeah, this is
That's
a
still gonna
summertime
happen.
fucking.
Yeah, right.
That's
exactly.
it.
Yep. But anyway, yeah, they do. That's really their story. They reconnect as former friends. They'll probably stay friends, I would think, maybe, but
Yeah.
or at least distant acquaintances. They'll probably, when they're both in town,
Maybe we'll find out.
Maybe we'll find out in Jennifer Loves You the sequel. But yeah, you get this sense that that their relationship is not to be taken seriously. But yet they juxtapose it with the one you are supposed to take seriously, which I think is the biggest sham of the whole movie between Preston
It's a sham.
and
Amanda.
Yeah, but anyway.
Peter Fasinelli is he's fucking great.
He's Peter Fascinating.
Nelly, yeah. Fascinating Nelly. No,
I tried.
He's great in this.
I'm staying out of this one.
Yeah. No, he's like even when I saw that one Twilight movie, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I maybe said something else.
Was he a sparkler?
Somebody in there. He was the father of Edward.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen those movies, so I don't know.
I haven't either.
There
There are things in the zeitgeist that I just somehow know.
Are you gonna subject yourself to that like you did Resident Evil someday?
No.
Okay. Good.
No.
I don't want to find you dead.
Dead. It's like, all right, it's time to come over and record an episode, and you just come in, and you just see the feet swinging.
Yeah.
It's like, we need a new third person.
No, Jason, I'll
That
just
can do
carry
all-
on with your body hanging.
God, I
who's
sure
gonna
hope
edit these things.
the zombie that will be Jeff can edit.
Yes.
Man, I thought he'd been in more like popular stuff, but not really. That's wild. He is kind of one of those guys that just pops up every now and then, though. Anywho, so I guess we gotta kind of wrap up what happens between Preston and Amanda. That's kind of where we're at here.
Yep.
Yeah, so Preston is saying goodbye to Denise because he's getting on a train. And he goes to the train station and he says that he's okay with this, which the way he's been stalking her for 4 years, you don't really feel like he could get over it in 3 hours.
Yeah, and then he tells her it still would have been cool to make out with her. It's just all of it just feels so fucking weak.
At that
it's
point,
weak sauce shallow, right?
Yeah.
that's weak sauce.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, you would assume that it would be pretty cool to make out with Jennifer Love Hewitt if you can get your feelings reciprocated.
Right.
That's
for
not
her.
that should not be Preston's takeaway. It's
No.
a joke.
Nope.
A lot of that's the problem.
He has not grown at all.
The large problem with this movie is that most of the jokes back the movie into a corner.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right? So people have to behave a certain way for any of these jokes to happen, which makes them like less than people almost.
Mm-hmm.
I still find the jokes funny though.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. No, that's I'm with you on that. But yeah, and I'm definitely with you on that too, that it's like there is maybe you could say there is some magical realism to this of like if you really do love somebody like that it's all going to work out in the long run. But yeah, it's not presented in that way. So it's not a fairy tale, which means that this is going to be a disaster.
Right.
One of them is going to kill the other
And mail their ear.
and mail their ear and mail pieces back to Mr. Love Hewitt.
Yes. So Amanda has gone to his house and found out from his father where he's at. She goes to the train station to, I don't know what she plans to do. She loved this one-page letter that made her feel like more than she is.
And then
That's an amazingly small writing.
He's a good writer. Otherwise, he wouldn't be accepted into Kurt Vonnegut's workshop, Jeff.
Okay,
that's
sure.
definitely
that was a
that's
joke.
definitely
You're
but that's
supposed to laugh
definitely
at
but
that.
but honestly that's what the movie's telling us. That's not a joke in the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. So
Jeff's face is awesome right now.
he loves someone who he's never really talked to, and he's loved her for 4 years. She now is like super into this guy that she has ignored for 4 years because of a letter that she read. And then she says the only thing in the movie that is absolutely true about her is that, yes, she should be alone for a little while. Maybe I should be without a boyfriend for a while. Yes, do that.
I would have been
Amanda.
satisfied if they left the movie like that.
Yeah, if he would have like knocked her on the chin, it's like, see you around. I'll be back later this summer.
Right. And
Where are
not
you
give
going
us-
to college? Or maybe I'll stop by and see you.
And this is why I hate those splash cards too. I don't know what
But
you
instead
call
he
them.
comes back
Yes, he's like, there's a later train.
and he jumps in and
Meanwhile,
and they kiss, and then the card says that he got on a train 7 hours later. And
cut to
What do you call those cards?
they're probably just chirons. But yeah,
Oh, that word
that
again.
word again.
and the cut to Kurt Vonnegut like looking at his watch, tapping it. And it's like,
Yeah.
Where is that guy?
Is that Preston?
Well,
I
I mean,
stuck my neck out for that kid.
yeah.
Vonnegut's unstuck in time, so he doesn't really care.
God, I hope so.
Yeah, me too, actually.
So so they are having a torrid love affair by way of writing a letter to each other every day. That's going to get tiring.
I can't even write for like 5 minutes anymore. Like literally writing stuff.
Oh shit, I know. Like anytime I have to hand scribe something, oh, it's terrible. My hand gets so sore.
Yeah, and I don't think that's from being old. I'm so out of practice.
Yeah.
We used to write everything.
Oh yeah, we just write everything.
Computers, those damn computers.
It's a lot
Shouldn't we
Like
be
a
home
nerd.
playing with our computers?
It's a lot faster.
Why don't you go home and play with your computer?
Oh,
dork.
the Melissa Joan Hart and her and the other guy who's all about memories.
Yeah.
they
hook up.
find each other at the
Which
end.
apparently they didn't know each other for 4 years. How big is this graduating class? I'm telling you.
No kidding, right?
Nobody knew anyone. That's like, they let you know right up front that like the girl from French and the girl from gym class is having the party. Nobody knows her name.
But like
Nobody knows anybody.
Yeah.
yeah, it does sort of take that concept of cliques way too far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they're silos.
Yeah.
They're not cliques.
Yeah.
They're fucking silos that they don't let anybody in.
And it's impossible for them to have interacted at all
yeah.
in the last 4 years. Yeah.
Even when they sit right next to each other in 9th grade English.
Yeah, they choose.
Yeah.
No, I think they
When
just
they're
choose their
walking
own
on the side?
classes at this point. Maybe 9th grade, but in 10th grade they're just like no.
Yeah, but Preston and Amanda literally
No,
sat next to each other.
But I'm joking. Like the click thing has gotten to the point where they can set their own schedules.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, no, I need to be with my friends in
Yeah.
this class.
Oh, this is the hot girlfriend to the jock class. Sorry, nobody else allowed.
Wait, this is an advanced Wiccan? Nope.
No.
Yeah.
There's only 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's all that's in the class. I mean, they offer it.
At one point Jason does say the movie The Craft walks by.
Yep.
It's just 3 goth chicks. I'd probably hang out with them. I'd hang out with the
Yeah.
goth chicks. Why not?
I see the problems with this movie, and I still
You
love
don't
it.
care. Yeah, that's fine.
it's fair. I mean,
I saw the problems.
It's entertaining.
I see the problems with Dick Tracy, and I don't give a shit.
It's
Yeah.
just
entertainment.
they're more glaring having watched them in the succession with the other movies that we watched.
Yes.
Oh,
And they're
I mean,
more
we've gone from,
Academy
the
Award
last,
darling.
yeah, the last picture show to Can't Hardly Wait in this month, and that's a very wide berth.
Right. But this movie doesn't lend itself very well, because this is what we do, right? We're Film Seizure. We talk. We're critical of films. This isn't the kind of film that stands up to any kind of criticism. It probably doesn't need that level of discussion, but that's what we do, right? So we have to pick it apart.
I would
for
like
what
to
it is.
see an unrated cut. I wonder if it would ever be possible, because there was a lot cut. We were talking about that. The most famous thing that was in the trailers was the bit with the watermelon, and that they're filling a watermelon full of vodka.
Yeah.
And you see kids throughout the whole party eating watermelon. You're like, what the fuck are they eating watermelon for? Well, the whole reason why was cut from the movie. So you got to wonder, there's probably more stuff like that.
Maybe like 15, 20 minutes of
I would
backfill to help it out.
I think it would be fun to just watch it, because there's probably just more jokes. It'd probably give it a little bit more of an R-rated feel.
Give me more William.
Probably. Yeah.
Well, this DVD that I have does have the music video for Smash Mouth's "Can't Get Enough of You, Baby." Want to
Wow.
watch that?
Does
You
it
wanna
have
watch
does
that?
it have theatrical
I can't
trailer too?
hardly wait.
That's the best bonus feature.
Theatrical trailer,
Holy shit.
anamorphic widescreen and full screen format.
Oh my god.
Anyway, you want to watch that music video?
Jeff in his hand is holding a double-sided DVD.
I do not think,
Well,
however,
maybe it's not in there right now because
I do not think, however, that that Can't Hardly Wait will
got
be
an insert.
released by the Criterion Collection.
there's no fucking way.
Right.
Oh my God! Imagine. I mean, maybe it gets a Shout Factory release.
Well, 3 of the 4 movies we watched previously have been.
that's
yeah.
true.
And
That's true.
honestly, American Graffiti would be deserving as well.
Yeah, but Universal.
And then maybe it has been released, American Graffiti, by Criterion. It might have.
I don't know. That's is
And
that
I'm
now
not saying
owned by
that,
Disney?
I'm not saying that Criterion is necessarily the
it a
standard
Lucasfilm?
for a respectable film. They would like you to think it is, but
Well, I mean, they did release all the classic Godzilla movies.
Sure.
Some of those are shaky
Sure.
at best.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe this is something that Shout Factory could do.
I would see it being a perfect release for Shout Factory.
I would
Maybe
buy
do
it.
a Shout Factory Select.
Uh-huh.
They did Cuffs.
Yep.
I've got Cuffs.
Yep. That would be a perfect release for them, and it would sell.
It took you way too long to find it.
I can't do the alphabet. Anyway, no, this DVD actually has an insert. Remember when they used to do those?
Oh yeah.
I miss
Look at
inserts.
that.
I miss that physical media. You remember those boxes they had CDs in originally, which made no fucking sense
Oh, yeah.
to even have them in?
Yeah.
Because they were 3 times the size of a CD case.
Right. They were only there because they had to figure out a way for the racks for the vinyls to still be used.
That's a good point. That's
So
a good point.
yeah.
I never thought of that.
So yeah, because I remember when I first started buying CDs was right at the changeover that most stores had to like.
Sam Goody.
Well, it was like coconuts and what was the other one? Oh God, there was one I can't remember what it was called. It was my favorite store. It was over there by where the comic shop is there on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but anyway,
it wasn't a media play, was it?
no,
That's
but
the
Media
Northeast.
Play. I loved Media Play a lot.
Yeah,
I
Media Play's awesome.
would wreck my paydays there.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, yeah, it's like, yeah, this is one of those movies. This is not on the same level. But you're right. It's kind of above reproach
Yeah.
in the sense that either you like it or you don't.
Well, I think we've reproached it.
No,
but we all say we still laugh.
Right.
We still enjoyed
It's still
watching
funny.
it. We still would enjoy watching it again.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
At some point. Chuck will.
I mean, the fact that it still made me laugh following Fast Times,
Yeah.
which
Which
is an
made us
obviously
laugh a
better
lot.
movie.
Right. Well, sure.
But
both
it's got
we had a
something
lot of
there.
laughs
We weren't
today.
like, oh shit, this is just a rehash of what we just watched.
Right.
Or,
Right.
We
you know.
had a lot of laughs today.
Yes.
So that's good enough for me.
Yeah,
Sweet.
I enjoyed it.
Good enough for me. So, hey, guess what, guys? Next week, it's Spooky Month.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be my favorite month.
The best
October.
month of the year. It's the best month of the year.
That's a great song. You guys should record it and put it before every episode.
Okay. No.
Sure.
Ooh baby, ooh baby.
No, don't do that yet because I'm about to.
Oh yeah, I gotta wait until you go take a duker.
If you do it now, I'm going to take a duker in my seat. Anyway, that's a Friday the 13th deep cut there.
Yes, it is.
So, okay, next week we have the start of 4 consecutive spooky movies for October.
Are you gonna tell us what they all are?
I'm going to tell you what they all are.
Awesome.
Good, because I
First up.
forgot.
The Brood.
Yes.
Yay.
That's next week. That's October 6th. The Brood. October 13th. Carrie.
Jason's
Yes.
wearing the shirt.
October 20th. Scream.
Yeah.
October 27th. Halloween 3. Season of the Witch.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so excited for
Man, the guy hosting horror trivia on Wednesday that I went to was wearing a Halloween 3 sucks shirt, and I wanted to be like, you suck.
I'd punch that.
You suck, buddy.
I'd punch that dude in the dick.
Is that like Primus sucks, or does he really think Halloween?
I don't
3
know
sucks?
if it was ironic or not.
I
Yeah.
have a feeling people are more than happy to tell you that they don't like that movie.
Yeah.
And I'm more than happy to punch them in the fucking teeth
Yeah.
over it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't
So
think-
look
I
forward
don't-
to
I
that
don't
in a
think-
month,
I don't
guys.
think I would do that, but I'm really excited for the episode because I love that movie.
I love that movie too.
I'm gonna tell you it sucks just to see if you'll punch. me
I'm
in the
going to
teeth.
punch Chuck in the teeth in 4 weeks.
Tune in on October 20 whatever. Jeff
7th.
said.
Yep. Also happening on Monster Mondays. I got themes going on there too. It's a Hammer Halloween, bitches.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We got The Curse of Frankenstein, Vampire Circus, The Devil Rides Out, and The Mummy.
Oh, The Devil
So-
Rides Out. I just watched that recently.
Yep.
Very good.
Yeah, so those are that's a whole month between Film Seizure and Monster Mondays. That's real exciting for horror times. Less than really exciting for horror times is over at B Movie Enema, where it's Resident Evil sequels month.
Oh, boy.
Oh, you don't even do the first one.
You
I already
you
did that
done it,
one.
yeah.
I already
Oh, yeah,
did that
okay,
one
I
back in
remember.
the spring.
I remember.
Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, at least Halloween Day gets a little bit of a reprieve with Night of the Creeps as my Halloween
fun.
special. So, but yeah. Anyway, all that stuff is coming next month from our various places. So follow Film Seizure at the Facebook and the Twitter and the Instagrams.
Smash those like buttons.
Yep. And
Smash mouth those like buttons. Oh.
walking on the time.
Holy shit!
My brain was trying to figure out something similar, so thanks, Jeff, for just going for it.
I just did it. I just went for it.
I can't get enough of that, baby.
So so all those do all those things. You can do the same things except for Instagram for B Movie Enema. Also, you can follow the podcast, all the stuff we do at Film Seizure, both Film Seizure and Monster Mondays at places like SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, and Audible, as well
Is YouTube?
as subscribing to the YouTubies.
Yep.
So next week, spooky month with
can't.
the Brood.
I'm not gonna say it. Never mind.
What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say I can't hardly wait for Spooky Month. You made me say it.
Fair enough.
Spoopy month.
Spoopies.
Spoopies. We didn't. Yeah. Anyway, so until next week, I am Jeff Arbuckle.
I'm Chuck Moore.
I am Jason Oliver, and you have been listening to Film Seizure.